I'm Paul, the pastor with The Plant, and one of the things I like to talk about is my transformational journey from being sort of a staunch, legalistic, angry Christian to knowing that there was a better way to live. And it really came down to the fact that I wanted to love people. And growing up, I used to think, why do those people get to love people? And why do those sinners seem happy? I wish God would let us be happy and let us love people. Well, I just want to tell you guys, God is okay with you loving yourself. He's okay with you loving other people. And it really is okay to be happy. It's a whole new way to live with evangelical Christianity. You don't have to be angry and divisive. You can love people. Isn't that great to hear? Hi, I'm Pastor Paul with The Plant. Enjoy your day. Hi everybody, Pastor Paul here. As I've been laying out my reasons for not voting for Donald Trump, one of the responses I get more often than any other is, what about abortion? Or, did you know Joe Biden's a baby killer? My personal favorite. One of the things I want to do on these videos is help you to start to think differently. Just because you've been told something by your evangelical church your whole life doesn't make it true. You need to study it for yourself. Romans 12:2 says, don't be conformed to what you've always known, to the age you're in, but be transformed by the ongoing renewal of your mind so that you can know what is good and right from God in a season. I have a different way I look at the abortion battle, and I'm going to do a series of videos on it coming up, so I hope you'll watch them, because I believe that our political struggle to impose a law on people is having the opposite effect that many of you passionately want to have around abortion. So I hope you'll join me, watch my YouTube channel, and go to my website at nppodcast.com. Hi everybody, Pastor Paul here with my first video in the series on abortion. And if you're an older guy like me, you'll get the Brady Bunch reference there. But one of the things I want to say is we think differently in looking at the things of the church, and particularly the political battle of trying to force a law on the country to ban abortion. Is that the best way for us to think? I believe that God is not pro-abortion. By the way, Joe Biden is not pro-abortion, nor is Kamala Harris, nor are most American citizens. Very few people are pro-abortion. But what God is, I believe, is pro-human. I believe he loves a pregnant woman as much as he loves the fetus. I think he loves the father of that fetus as much as the fetus. And I think he wants his people to be pro-human too. What if we figured out how to be pro-human instead of anti-abortion? Could our message of God's gospel be more powerful that way? More coming up on my next video and on my YouTube channel at The Nonpartisan Evangelical. Okay, here we go. Abortion, part 2. My question to my staunch right-wing evangelical friends is, you can believe you're completely right in your stance on abortion, but is it still okay to say that someone who votes pro-choice is in favor of murder? Or that President-elect Joe Biden is a baby killer? Interesting conversation in Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 and 22. Jesus is talking to the right-wing believers of his day, and he makes this statement. He says, you've heard it say in your law, don't murder. But I say to you, if there's anger in your heart towards someone and bad names for them comes out of that anger in your heart, you are the one more deserving of hellfire than that murderer. Maybe you believe you're exactly right in your stance on abortion, but could it be you're 100% wrong in how Jesus wants you to deal with people? Want to know more? Follow my series here on TikTok. Go to my Nonpartisan Evangelical YouTube channel or nppodcast.com. Okay, here we go. Abortion, part 3. These next two videos are about the roots and the fruit of the political abortion battle in the evangelical church. When Roe v. Wade first passed in 1973, it was met with a meh by the evangelical church. It wasn't until 1979, after the Jimmy Carter administration had started trying to force Christian schools like Jerry Falwell's Liberty College to racially integrate, that suddenly a Republican political operative named Paul Weyrich was able to work with Falwell to start the moral majority in order to weaponize the abortion issue politically to get Jimmy Carter out of office. Ever since then, Republicans have never overturned Roe v. Wade legislatively because they need the issue to move Christian voters. And so while many Christians do passionately care about the unborn, the issue itself is a political one. Want to know more? Go to my Nonpartisan Evangelical YouTube channel and my website, nppodcast.com. Abortion, part for the fruit of the political abortion battle. In the New Testament, it said when a fig tree didn't bear fruit, you cut it off at the roots and threw it into the fire. And the fig tree represented the nation and the religious system of the day. So what is the fruit of our political battle for abortion? Has it stopped abortion? Well, no, the law is still in place. And we know from countries like South Korea that have banned abortions for decades that they have more abortions per capita there than we have in the United States. And when Alabama and Missouri recently passed very restrictive abortion laws, support for abortion shot through the roof. Are we advancing the message of heaven with our battle? Well, no. We're as angry and divisive as anybody in the country, and it's driving millennials and Gen Zers away from the church, making them the most unchurched generations in American history. So if the fruit of our political battle is bad, let's cut it off and throw it in the fire and find a better way to share the message. Want to know more? Go to the Nonpartisan Evangelical YouTube channel or my website. Abortion, 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 part 5, my last in the series. And you know, a lot of my Christian friends believe the political battle for abortion is a fight to save the lives of babies. And I can respect that. But what we've missed in the middle of it all is it just makes us mean. And you can read that in the comments on my post. 1 Corinthians 13 says you can say all kinds of great things, but if you don't do it with love, you're just a big, loud, clanging gong and crashing cymbals. Matthew 25 says, if we don't clothe the naked, visit the prisoner in prison, feed the poor, God is going to say to us, depart from me, I never knew you. Why don't we go after the real issues that bring about abortion? Poverty, lack of access to education and health care, lack of access to good contraceptives, lack of access to child care. And then we could really help people and no longer be clanging gongs about the gospel. And then I believe God would say to us, well done, my good and faithful servant. Okay, here we go. Abortion, 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 part 3. These next 2 videos are about the roots and the fruit of the political abortion battle in the evangelical church. When Roe v. Wade first passed in 1973, it was met with a meh by the evangelical church. It wasn't until 1979, after the Jimmy Carter administration had started trying to force Christian schools like Jerry Falwell's Liberty College to racially integrate, that suddenly a Republican political operative named Paul Weyrich was able to work with Falwell to start the moral majority in order to weaponize the abortion issue politically to get Jimmy Carter out of office. Ever since then, Republicans have never overturned Roe v. Wade legislatively because they need the issue to move Christian voters. And so while many Christians do passionately care about the unborn, the issue itself is a political one. Want to know more? Go to my Nonpartisan Evangelical YouTube channel and my website, nppodcast.com. Hi everyone, Pastor Paul, the TikTok pastor, and I get some version of this comment about 100 times a day. It comes out of the misplaced right-wing Christian belief that God cares about banning abortion and criminalizing pregnant women and their doctors above all other things. Let's be clear. The Bible's priorities are not banning abortion, banning gay marriage, moving embassies in Israel, and single-gender bathrooms. It's just not there. The priority of the Bible is taking care of the poor, the foreigner, and the marginalized. And you can't see it just a couple, 3 times in the Bible. It's in there hundreds of times. And taking care of the poor doesn't just mean having a backpack drive in your church. It means having a community heart for justice in your community, your state, your region, and your country. So I know you think you're doing right with this comment, but just know you're actually reciting the Republican Party platform, not the Christian Bible. How do you actually save that baby's life? Passing a law to ban abortion doesn't do it. We know this. South Korea has banned abortion for 60 years, and they still have more abortions per capita than the United States. The question is, do you want to save babies, or do you want to win political battles? Do you want to save babies or be self-righteous and condemning and driving generations from the church? That's the question I'm asking. If you want to save that baby's life, there are great ways to do it. Like, go after poverty. Systemic poverty is the #1 indicator of somebody that's going to have an abortion. So let's go after poverty. That's the way you actually save babies' lives. I'm telling you that you can be passionate about saving the life of a fetus, but it gives you the right to hate people in your heart. Jesus would say, you know what? You're just as guilty as they are. Clear your heart first and work from a position of a clean heart. And then you can start to work through the process of trying to save babies. Anyone who hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. By this we know love, that he, Jesus, laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers or for others. But if anyone has the world's goods, so now here we're going to go in my next premise. One of the things that is terrible about the abortion agenda is that it's been used to make this right-wing Christianity become very prevalent in the church. And right-wing Christianity tends to press against our corporate heart for taking care of the poor. So now John has set up the premise here in 1 John that if you hate your brother, you're a murderer. And the way you prove your life is to be willing to lay down your life for someone. And by laying down your life, that doesn't just mean for dying with somebody who's in danger of violence, but it also means laying down your desires and needs to serve somebody else. 1 John 3:17 says, but if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and truth. Taking care of the poor is not having a backpack drive before school starts. A lot of people say, I did this for this poor person last year. You don't know that I don't care about the poor. Here's the problem with that statement. The Bible from end to end shows that God, yes, judges us as individuals and our hearts, but he also judges us corporately and holds us responsible for the corporate heart of our collection, our sphere. And so that includes our city, our region, our state, and our country. Don't believe me? You think I'm wrong? It actually is in the Bible again and again and again and again and again. Let's talk abortion verses in the Bible. When I ask people to justify with scripture single issue voting or calling people baby killers, they'll send me a verse like this. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. Psalm 139, Jeremiah 1, Luke 1, these are amazingly beautiful poetic passages about God's interaction with humanity and his love for life. But that passage doesn't say God just knew us at conception in the womb. It says he knew us before the earth was even created. So it's hardly a specific command to ban abortion. I could use that verse to argue that contraception or not procreating is a sin. So can we consider if this is really God's number one issue? Go to my Pastor Paul YouTube channel for more on the abortion verses. I'm Pastor Paul, the TikTok pastor, and today we're going to go through every verse written by the Apostle Peter commanding us to have abortion as our number one issue as Christians. No? Well, the Apostle Paul wrote 12 books of the New Testament, so here's all the verses he wrote about abortion. Perhaps John the Apostle? He was Jesus' closest friend, so surely if abortion is to be our number one issue without question, surely John wrote all of these verses about abortion. Okay, well, let's just point out the places where Jesus talked about it. Infanticide was rampant in the Roman Empire, and surely Jesus talked often about how it would be the demise of the empire. So let's look at all those verses. So who did command Christians to have banning abortion as their number one issue?